recently found a CD with 70 photos from the stone house renovation we did here in 2006. I hadn't seen these photos for all that time, but now I can finally tell the story of what happened here. This house took an enormous transformation, and I'm looking forward to showing it to you. This house was originally built in the 1850s, but it had several additions after that. One large room was tacked on in the front in the 1970s, and these glass bricks were also added in the 1990s. The house is located on a small farm very close to the sea, and it was one of the only houses in the area until the town of Cortesia began to be developed in the 30s. There's terracing all in the surrounding areas, and there are wonderful little gardens here and there. Let me show you some snapshots from the interior of the house when I met it in 2005. The actual footprint of this house is less than 60 square meters. It's about 640 square feet. So it's pretty small. And with these low ceilings, it looked even smaller. It felt even smaller. It wasn't a bad house. It just didn't have much imagination, and it could have been so much better. It was obvious from the architecture that the house had so much more potential in it. I was particularly interested in bringing more sunshine indoors. The one thing I knew I could not live with was the taxi cab yellow doors and shutters. I just couldn't bear them. So that's where I started, sanding and painting those. And that's where the whole project began, because as we took them apart and started sanding them and getting them all cleaned up, we could see that the wood lintels, which were about 150 years old, were completely rotten. And that's scary, because that's what brings a house down. So that's the point where we looked at the walls carefully, dug holes, and started making an analysis of what the situation was. And we realized that if we wanted to live in this house, especially long term, we were going to have to do some major repairs. And then it just got a bit crazy after that. The first project involved renovating the old stables, which were under the veranda and you couldn't access from the house. After several months of work, a new foundation was poured, the room was doubled in size, and it became a professional kitchen. Unfortunately, I don't have any photographs of the transformation, but it was a major job. The floor had to be dug out and a drainage system was created because this room is built right into rock. Creating a kitchen out of this space was quite an undertaking. And here's some pictures of my kitchen. This is where my international cookie company is headquartered. Meanwhile, there were several people taking the plaster off the old building upstairs. The walls were put together with goat hair and mud, so the entire thing had to be repointed. They were in much worse condition than we expected. Soon the roof was off, and we started to change some of the windows. Because we were going to extend the ceiling height and add sleeping lofts throughout the house, I knew we needed some windows up high. And we also added a window in what would be my daughter's room, there right in the center. Those glass brick walls were pretty popular in the 80s and 90s, but we got rid of that. We rebuilt the wall there, and it's currently the back side of a closet. Once all the walls were pointed thoroughly inside and out, it was time to put the cement molds on and pour a ring around the entire frame of the house in order to secure the walls and to create a foundation for raising them slightly in order to fit lofts. We also reinforced the front room because it was a later addition and it wasn't nearly as well built as the old stone walls, which are very thick. After many months of excavating this house, it was time to pour the cement ring, which was a big day. We knew that we could start to build rather than tear down. Skylights are an integral part of the design, especially here in Greece, where we have about 340 days of sunshine a year. So let's go see some before and after pictures of the interior and how the skylights made such a difference in the overall feel and atmosphere of the place and how large it looks. But before that, let me just give you a glimpse of the floor plan. These first two photos show either end of the long room that we labeled library kitchen on the floor plan. Originally, that had a door right in the center and a wall, of course, and of course a fake low ceiling like the rest of the house had. So these pictures have been taken after the ceiling was stripped out, the floor was stripped out, and then eventually that center wall was stripped out. Once the crawl space was exposed, when the fake ceilings were removed, there was plenty of room to make loft sleeping. So each room has its own loft. The back room has certainly become the hub of the house. And interestingly, it's about exactly the same dimensions as an average tiny house. 7.5 meters long by 2.8 meters wide and about 4.5 meters tall. And right above where we're sitting is this sleeping loft. This is the main bedroom, and this is the most relaxing place to practice yoga. little bedroom is now being used as my closet, but it was my daughter's room for the whole time she was here as a kid. And there's the window that we added, and here's the sleeping loft. This little room felt like a mini apartment for my teenage daughter. It's absolutely cluttered now, but it allows me to have the house quite clear of clutter. Remember the dark and dingy living room? Well, you won't believe what it looks like now. The bathroom entrance is right next to the ladder for the loft in the living room. We took what was previously the bathroom and the closet space and joined them together and made a larger space. Throughout the entire house, we made mosaic floors with white stones and white cement. This was a very expensive and very time-consuming, labor-intensive process, but I wouldn't change it for anything. It's such a pleasure to follow the changing light in this house from hour to hour and from season to season. I've now lived in this house for 18 years. It's the longest I've ever been anywhere, and I really do love it very much. But a few storms have come through and the years have passed, and it's in need of a little bit of loving care once again. The big pergola sadly got knocked down in the storm, but I'm quite enjoying the house without it. Despite the fact that it's way overdue for a new entranceway and some paint. A few years ago, I added a little farm shop, and I hope you'll come visit if you're on Kea. Well, there you have it. If you liked what you saw today, please like and subscribe. And I'll sometime in the future be making another one of these about the guest house next door, which was entirely inspired by the house I just showed you. Here's a sneak preview, although I probably won't get to this video for some time. Have a wonderful week ahead, 2 weeks ahead. I'll be doing these videos every 2 weeks from now on. I appreciate you all so much. Thanks so much for your likes, your subscribes, and keep those comments coming. I love hearing what you have to say. So until next time, take care.